In part 1 of the Sunshine Leaks, we expose how proceeds of crime is laundered through Florida and how politicians receive donations from convicted criminals in exchange for offering protection from prosecution. A flagrant example is Claudio Osorio, a Venezuelan American convicted for fraud in 2013 and sentenced to 12 years in prison. In part 2, we will expose Osorio's first fraudulent business, CHS Electronics, formerly a NASDAQ-listed electronics distributor. CHS filed for bankruptcy in 2000 due to fraud and money laundering. Osorio was never prosecuted for CHS's fraud. Instead, he continued to strengthen his relationships with politicians while simultaneously defrauding investors and engaging in money laundering through other businesses until 2013.
Was the company ever making money?
If you ask me, okay, I don't know.
Every question today? Let's assume I'm asking you.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, Mr. Budwick. I don't know.
Beginning in 1995, CHS, run by a group of close-knit Venezuelans, acquired assets from Comtrad, another electronics distributor founded by Osorio and his Venezuelan associate Antonio Bocalandro in 1988. Throughout the mid-1990s, when CHS was subject to limited media attention, the Osorio clan purposely leaked press releases claiming these acquisitions were doubling CHS's size, with profits reaching hundreds of millions, intended to feign legitimacy and defraud investors. In 1997, 2 years before CHS's fraud was publicized, Osorio was named Entrepreneur of the Year by Ernst & Young, solidifying his image as a legitimate businessman and allowing him to continue his fraud. 2 years later, in November 1999, a lawsuit was filed by the shareholders of CHS against CHS, Osorio, and its executives, citing fraud. The plaintiffs called the frauds Claudio's magic, pointing out that the Osorio clan issued false financial reports to allow insiders to gain profits from the sales of CHS's stock and to finance growth for CHS through acquisitions. CHS was also accused of insider trading when senior management dumped stock valued at more than $26 million in 1998, knowing that the fraud would soon be uncovered. One executive who was accused of insider trading, Ofer Magen, was removed from CHS's board but stayed in charge of CHS subsidiary Karma International's warehouse in Amsterdam. CHS acquired electronics distributor Karma in August 1997. Its operations were centralized in Turkey and its warehouse and distribution centers were in the Netherlands. A 1993 DEA report describes how drug traffickers regularly shipped large quantities of cocaine through Dutch ports, with at least 50% of cocaine bound for Europe entering through Amsterdam and Rotterdam. Karma claims to have developed a highly efficient distribution system in Europe, which resulted in explosive growth with monthly returns of 70% on investment. In 1998, CHS acquired Brightstar, founded 1 year prior by Marcelo Claure, a current executive at SoftBank whom we will describe in more detail in Part 3. Brightstar also claims to have experienced explosive growth in its first year of operation, with revenues of over $65 million. Nevertheless, CHS acquired Brightstar for $12 million less than 18 months before it was forced to file for bankruptcy. To show that CHS's operations were fraudulent, after its acquisition of Brightstar, Claure said, "Our intentions are to position CHS as a global distribution company," suggesting that he was unfamiliar with CHS's operations as it was already distributing globally. 1 year after acquiring Brightstar, CHS transferred the shares back to Brightstar's original owners in lieu of repaying their remaining balance. As we will expose further in Part 3, after CHS was bankrupt, Brightstar took over its Latin American business headquartered in Doral, Florida, a suburb of Miami that was targeted by the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network as a primary location of trade-based money laundering through electronics exports.